that's why I say that it's so important to learn about the character and not just put it aside because you are on a spiritual journey and you would say that there is nothing which exists, or I have realized myself as being nothing and being bliss, which is true, of course. But you are still here in this human being, and this human being has its conditionings, has its behavioral patterns, and, or in Sanskrit, vasanas, which come up, the habits of mind, old patterns. So my purpose is here that I would like to mention some of these reactionary behaviors, especially in trauma survivors. But who is not a trauma survivor? I mean, more or less everyone is, somewhat. And these reactional patterns can be found probably in all of us. And one of these reactional patterns is stronger than the other. And it's important to educate yourself about it, so you can later on you can catch this behavior pattern more easily, more quickly, so that you don't follow it down on the road, and then you are less likely to hurt others or yourself. So again, to work on this, to work on your person, to work on yourself, on your life, is okay, and it's very good, even if you are on the so to speak, on this path of non-duality, which says that there is no person, and you can recognize this, that there is no one here. But just look at it like this. You know, if you have some problems with food intolerance, you have to learn a new kind of diet if you want to feel better, if you don't want to suffer, if you don't want to be tired all the time. So you take the effort, you learn about it, what you are allowed to eat, how you should cook for yourself, so you will also like reorganize your day probably and have a different schedule of your daily meals. And this whole thing that you change because of your body, you will have a better life. So just the same way with your behavioral patterns, old conditionings, if you work on them, if you become more conscious of them, you can have a better life here on this planet Earth as a human being. And then at the end of the day, this also helps you to have more time, more space also in your life, more peace, where you can really sink into yourself, into the spaciousness that you are right now. I mean, you can sink into this any moment, of course. But if you change your diet, if we go back to this, you know, you will not fall asleep while meditating, because you will have more energy with a better diet, you know, with yoga or working on your psychological issues, so to speak. You will have more space, more room for self-inquiry, for going into this preciousness of this moment. Because all, in everything we want this moment, which is always free. So, and now let's just have a look at these patterns which you might also have and quite surely have. So let's say, if you stay with this topic of the spiritual, being on the spiritual journey, you go onto a retreat, and when you come back, after a while, something happens. Let's say that you lose your job, or something happens in the family. So you feel like being emotionally attacked. And this is a trigger. And then all of a sudden, you feel contracted. You are in your body, in your mind, and an old pattern comes up, and you are immediately identified with it, and you just want it to go away because you want this bliss, you want this, what you experienced at the retreat, what is the truth. And so 3 things which can happen in us, or 3 ways of reactions. One is that when something like this happens, which threatens us, I mean, losing a job threatens your survival. This is an existential question. And one reaction is that we want to cling. So we feel threatened, so we feel that we lose everything, and then we want to cling to someone so that that can bring us safety. And that has a typical physiological and psychological, emotional pattern. And the second one is when you feel threatened, then you start to control because you are afraid. And the third one is that you get so overwhelmed by losing your job or by having this family issue that you want to escape. All these 3 are patterns which trauma survivors have, and as I said, this could be also like a general kind of way of reacting. And the most important is that when you recognize it, you have the possibility to stop, to see it for what it is. So now through this video that you learn a little bit about it, you will recognize it. Oh, what's happening right now? This is just, in quotation marks, a behavior pattern which arose in me. It's an old kind of reaction. What if I take a look at it? What if I stop and don't follow it? And of course, it's easier said than done. So that's why I find it so important that you do some exercises. There are so many somatic exercises you can even find on the internet, or what I truly love is Kundalini yoga, or some other kind of PTSD, CPTSD exercises which can bring you back and regulate your brain and come back into this moment. So I hope that just this touch on this topic can help you in not denying that the human conditioning is here. It plays itself out. It comes from your body. Old conditionings, habits, which are turned on as a reaction to a familiar pattern. This is a survival mechanism from your brain and mind to protect you. But you can also recognize that you are now not in danger. You are not really in danger, and you can stop in the middle of this reaction and calm this pattern down. And then when you are again here in this moment, then you can see what's next. Then you will feel what's next. Thank you. Bye. Till next time.